So the BPT of 5%, do you think that can already be brought back to?
I have made my
4%?
position about that, and I have said that I don't want it rolled back. I'd like to see what fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021 gives, because as a result of what has happened, we were able to actually also close the gap as a result of President Trump's Jobs Act legislation that took away about $68 million from our general fund. So those are the kinds of things that I am really looking at, Heidi, before, and like I have said, I have spoken to many business leaders also, and they are okay with the 5%.
Will that stay at least until 2020, fiscal year 2021, so 2022, there might be a
I would like
consideration.
for it to stay, and I'd like for it to stay forever.
With many accolades and celebrations.
Buenas Micronesia, I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
Welcome to our studios here in Tumon. It is Thursday, September 19, 2019. Please show us some love. We're not saying the words we normally say because there's a Facebook algorithm that is screwing with us and that stops us whenever we say things like rhymes with fair or pear. Oh yeah, and if you could bike our page and also swallow our page, we would greatly appreciate it. If you could read between the lines here, we would greatly appreciate it because we figure that Facebook has not figured out the whole rhymes thing yet. But, you know, you never know with all this artificial intelligence that is far more superior to any intelligence I could have. Anyway, we are late today because of Alicia Kanata. It's her. That's not true. So I woke up at.
Guys, I put our YouTube link on the comments, so you guys can navigate there if you like.
Oh yeah, and you can also comment on the YouTube as well, just like we comment on the Facebook.
Yes.
And thank you all for the more followers that we've been getting from YouTube, and also for the people who've been emailing us and saying add me so that we can add you to our mailing list, where you'll actually get the news first throughout the day, because we've been we've been working pretty hard. Like we've been working really hard throughout the days, and part of that is getting you breaking news, especially in this dengue thing. We've brought you breaking news on tax refunds and on the riot situation, the DOE violence
fight.
situation.
Yeah.
And so the reason that we are late today is because I woke up really late today at 10:30, which meant like my entire morning regimen was screwed. And part of my personal journey is I need to exercise. I need to burn off a lot of energy and stuff. Johnny was actually pretty early today, and she's been helping out like a lot in the
Only
studio.
today, guys. So.
And then when we were coming back from, so both of us went to my sister's family night thing.
How did it is still recovery month?
Yeah.
How did you like it?
Oh, so I loved it. I loved tonight, and I guess last night, and I loved last week Wednesday. It's at Oasis, the old Blockbuster building. It's every Wednesday night is family night. So my sister considers Johnny her family, and so she was really happy to see Johnny tonight, like super happy. And so were several people there. They were like, Johnny!
Yeah.
And they looked good. These women, they look good.
That was a room of warriors.
Yeah.
They are fighting for their life, and I was really, I was humbled to be there.
Yeah, and it's
I felt kind of ashamed because I've never made that step to check myself into a home, to get inpatient. I made it years ago, and of course that didn't work. I walked out on it, or I was taken out. Sorry, I didn't walk out. Someone took me out of there.
You got expelled from
No,
Oasis?
they took me out.
Oh,
I didn't.
see. Okay,
they didn't
okay.
kick me out.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but this was in the States.
Okay.
All those women made that step to get inpatient treatment. And
Every hour they're making this step because they can just remove themselves at any time.
Right.
But they stay in there.
So tonight, being there, it made me feel like I was there. That those are a bunch of strong women fighting for their life every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's very educational actually. We watched
We learned a
couple
few
videos,
things about triggers and
about addiction.
Yeah.
It's very educational, and we're gonna hopefully tomorrow is not such a busy day so that we can concentrate on bringing you a special regarding what we learned yesterday or last night at the family night thing. So on the way back to the studio, because we're kind of rushing and we're like,
I
we
just
need
wanted to say that that's the kind of people that when we do the farm, that's the kind of people I want
yeah.
at our farm,
Yeah.
because it's going to be everybody's farm.
Van Hasu Farms, nonprofit organization, a nonprofit corporation that we filed last year. We have nonprofit status. We're tax exempt, a 501c3, and it is for to help women
Women and children,
and
and men too, but
who need a job, and part of that is learn how to farm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. We're working a lot. Like we are earning our keep for sure.
Yeah, we are.
So on the way back, hypothetically speaking,
Troy
hypothetically speaking,
fucking hit a tourist. I'm like, hey, and Troy, boom. I'm like, oh, fuck.
and nothing happens in the damn car. Nothing, okay? It was nothing.
Troy's like,
and she made a big freaking deal about it.
Troy's like,
let me just in my defense, okay?
When Troy gets down from the Jeep, he goes to the car and he sees that they're tourists and he goes like this. I don't know what the fuck that was for.
I didn't know they spoke English. In my defense, okay? They were Asian women driving, all right? Now, I'm not trying to be racist. What I am doing is making a generalization about a
So
group of
Troy
people.
tells her to go into the gas station. The lady
No, Fountain Plaza.
or the gas 76 store, whatever, right?
It took some explaining, okay?
No, well, the lady pulls over to the side of the road, the shoulder of the road, and she moves forward, and then she slowly, and I said, no wonder why we hate you.
She said, no wonder why Koreans always...
No, he's lying.
She
He's
said-
lying. I didn't.
She totally said that. She said, no wonder why
Hey,
Korean
seguime.
chicks always get...
Seguime entonces.
So I had to go to the police station.
No, we
okay?
call 911. We call
No,
911.
we call 477.
Well, whatever. We call the police station, and guess what the police tells us? Sir, you're going to be waiting there for a while if you're going to wait for somebody. It's better if you just drive over here to the precinct.
And then the front door of the precinct is locked.
And
All of a sudden, I see Johnny coming from the back. She goes, oh, I know how to get in from the back way. I've been here before.
And lo and behold, all the police officers are there. All their cars are there.
They were really
And-
nice.
Oh, they came out quick once they saw the ID Troy Torres. Hey,
Excuse me, sir. Take your ID back.
no joke.
We are law-abiding citizens, okay? We did the right thing because we were on the phone with a friend who was like, did you just hit a car? I was like, yeah. She
And
goes,
then I said-
where are you? Like at the intersection. She goes, drive off. I was like, no. She goes, this isn't a tourist. Drive the fuck away. Because they'll have to pay the car rental company for the damage. There was no damages, though. Come on, man. There was no damages. Oh, making a mountain out of a freaking kimchi molehill.
No, but we are going to look into something did come out of this. It's Nissan trying to charge people that
$35.
a $35 application or processing fee for an accident.
She said, I'm not even gonna try her accent. She said administration
Fee. So if you are renting a car from Nissan, it's Nissan.
She said Nissan
they're-
rental car.
Apparently, they're telling their customers that if they get into an accident, even if it's not the customer's fault, they need to pay a $35 fee. So we'll look into that.
Yeah.
We will find out tomorrow. I think Troy gave the phone number to the tourists, and then we'll be calling Nissan ourselves. We got to do a good deed for the week because
Well, if dengue don't scare our tourists away, I guess my driving will. In my defense, okay, she was already going, and then she stopped, and I was like, the hell? Well, not what the hell. It was more like, ooh. What did I say our first story? Oh, George Washington High School. Earlier today, we came across a video of, just so you know, the Teads riot apparently wasn't the second big fight in as many weeks. The second one was George Washington High School. It just escaped anyone's attention, and it happened last week. Can we? Oh wait, don't cast my screen yet. Sorry, I forgot. Let me. Anonymous source there. Okay, go ahead, Cello, and cast my screen now.
they're pretty big boys.
Kill him! Fucking kill him! Stab him! Stab him first! Fuck him up! You want a knife? Give you a knife?
So the fight wasn't bad, and actually it's not a riot because a riot's defined as 4 or more people. What's bad
According
was
to DOE.
Yeah, according to DOE. Well,
Their
it's
ru-
their,
their
it's their
rules-
definition of it.
Their rules and regulations.
What's bad is you hear the person either narrating or near the one videoing the whole thing saying you want a knife. And so this is like a point to be made in this whole issue about school violence, is that had even one person in the Okudu riot or the JFK riot had a weapon, had a lethal weapon, it would be a very different outcome from what we've had. And the outcome has already been bad. 7 people treated for injuries, right? 6 people taken into custody by police because
One
of
adult,
Oh, not Okudu, I'm sorry. Tizen.
Teton
I
High.
kept saying Okudu, right?
Yeah.
One of them was an adult?
Yeah, 18 years old.
So thank you to the source of information for providing that. Give me 1 second before we go. So I just have to do something real quick. Oh, my hair looks like a mess, does it? Let me think about some way to get back at you for that throughout the rest of this show.
And hashtag child matching.
Yeah, you should see my chawed jeans. What? While I think I can do 2 things. I think I can do 2 things at one time. So there was a story that came out today regarding Benita Manglona, and Benita is my old coworker. We worked together for 7 years. Yeah, we worked together for 7 years in the Calvo administration. Now, I have been not the kindest to her over the past year, ever since my raid, right? I revealed some stuff about her involvement with certain things. But then, after a little bit, when my anger subsided, actually even before my anger subsided, I started to pull back on really attacking her because...
I think it's because when we went to Jigo Church, you saw her.
Oh, no. Remember, I wanted to flip her off at that time. It hadn't happened by then. It was a little bit later. And it was really because... and so here, this is like first-hand information from the horse's mouth. You'll hear it, right? Benita, and I've said this before too, Benita, though she did some things that, warrant accountability and responsibility and stuff like that, just like me. She really was a victim to a very mean Bernie Artero, who was her boss, and who made Benita do certain things and hung her job over her head in order to accomplish certain things that were not totally legal. And also Governor Calvo, who had her do certain things. And one of the things that they had her do, and this is a little tricky, So 8-point-something million in withholding taxes
8.7 million.
that were not paid to revenue tax from employees' paychecks, right? So, let me just do something real quick. So, that happened over a series of years. And I just want to shed some... Oh, can you... would you mind confirming it? I want to shed some light on that money or on that entire issue, because it isn't just that Governor Calvo and Bernie Artero directed Benita to do that. It also is that the choice that was made to not pay the withholding taxes was a choice made because the other option was to not purchase medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, payment of doctors, the actual things that need to be paid at Guam Memorial Hospital. And at the time,
Or even payroll.
Or payroll, yeah. And so at the time, and yes, it is illegal. It is illegal to not pay those withholding taxes. But it's not like the Guam legislature ever gave Governor Calvo's administration any sort of leeway whatsoever. Because remember, Governor Calvo at the time, he even parked a hearse in front of the legislature to implore them about this issue of making the capital improvements and also making the changes that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services were requiring of the hospital to make. That really, if these things were done, would have increased the hospital's cash flow. So this payroll situation where withholding taxes weren't paid to rev and tax, it was really a matter of paying or robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it was a matter of what was the priority. And is rev and tax a life or death thing, or is medicine and paying doctors and stuff like that a life or death thing? And that really was what happened. And senators cannot escape culpability in that entire mess. And what I'm trying to say is that it's not like Benita Manglona is the only person to blame for this whole thing. And what really incenses me about it is that the Leon Guerrero administration is making her the fall guy. After members of the legislature just shot down Senator Therese Terlahi's attempts to help fix GMH and its finances, its financials. Benita Manglona was just the CFO. The actual decisions on funding GMH come from the Guam legislature, and the political constitution to do something about it comes from the governor.
And it's not like she was putting the money in her pocket.
No, you're exactly right. And so I kind of want to stand up for my girl Benita Manglona. Like we were very good friends at one point. We called each other girlfriend. And as a matter of fact, during them, I want you guys to see the kind of person Benita Manglona is, because she was maligned all throughout today in the news, and I just don't think that's fair.
And the this administration and of course the Calvo administration are the people to blame.
And the legislature. Except Therese Terlahi, who we saw today.
And we were starstruck.
We were so starstruck.
Mostly Troy, because
I was like, Senator, you're our favorite senator. She was like, thank you. I was like, But let's play a video that we produced back in 2014. It's from a series called Everyone is Someone. And the first in that series is Benita Manglona, and it tells a little bit about her life, and I want you guys to see the kind of person she is.
I was born in Rhoda, and I was born and raised there, and my father was the mayor of Rhoda at one point, and my mom was just a housewife. And she raised 16 kids. Actually, there were 18, but one died at birth and the other one died when she was 2 years old. So I got married in 1982, and we decided to come here in 1996 when my oldest son was ready to go to high school, and we had always planned ever since before we got married that when we had kids we would eventually come back to Guam to send them to Father Duenas. When it was time for us to come to Guam, I was still working in Rhoda, so my husband was the one that came here, and I was commuting back and forth for a number of years because we brought the kids here. We were always very hardworking since we got married. When we were actually in Rhoda, I had my kids plan hundreds and hundreds of betel nuts, and when the betel nuts started producing, they put a ban to the betel nuts being imported to Guam. So that ended that source of income. So we didn't do that. But we got into other businesses, and we opened Guam Isla LP Gas back in 1996, and it was going to be 1 year later before the kids would come to Guam for school, because Dean would have been a freshman at Father Duenas. We've been operating the business, and then my husband got sick in 2007, and we had just a couple of days to leave the island because we were told that he couldn't be helped in Guam. We needed to go off island. But those were trying times for my family, but it made us stronger. So would never have thought that I would be working for the government. Actually, that has never ever crossed my mind. I was just too busy doing my own thing to support my family and just staying out of politics in Guam. I was really extremely surprised that I was being considered for a cabinet position because I'm from Rhoda and I don't bring any political clout. I have not a very common last name, Manglona. It's from Rhoda. But I was happy that I was considered based on my qualification and the fact that they found out that I'm a very hard worker. And I went to my confirmation hearing and everything went well except for I made one statement that really rattled the senators when I had made the remark that this is the worst financial condition that I've ever seen. We had over $300 million deficit and we owed a lot of money and there was no cash. I don't know what they're thinking, that the government is just fine. It wasn't fine, not at all. I'm just very honored that I'm happy to have served this governor who I think will go down as the greatest governor of Guam. When they try to say that Governor Calvo is not for everyone, I know in my heart that's absolutely not true. Before Governor Calvo, you had to have money, come from a prestigious family, or politically connected, or else you are no one. I was nobody, and Governor Calvo treated me as somebody. To him, everyone is someone. Now that's a real governor. I am Benita Manglona, and I'm the Director of Administration.
I just think that it was unfair. This the story about, or this last chapter to Benita Manglona's service in the government of Guam, it would
That she
come
had
down.
to step down.
Yeah, because let me just testify on her behalf. That woman really did come from nothing, and she really was. We talk about our kind all the time, the common people. Like we don't really come from anywhere. We don't have any kind of clout. We're not like rich people or whatever. Benita, maybe these days she has a little bit of money because
She worked hard for that.
she worked really hard for it.
It wasn't handed to her on a silver platter.
No.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And despite that, she was just an accountant. She had her Benita Manglona CPA accounting office, and that's what she did. At one point, she had a business with her family, Gresco, when they moved to Guam, so they could afford things. And then Governor Calvo, and when he was coming in, he heard about her, and saw her credentials and everything, and figured that she could contribute to the the people of Guam. Hired her, and I just want to remind everyone that. Remember when tax refunds were 6 years behind, 5 years behind? It was Benita Manglona who led the charge to get those bonds done, and it was because of her financial prowess and her ability to manage cash that there was never a payless payday in that first year of the Calvo administration, when from the very first payday of that administration, there was supposed to have been a payless payday. She's the one who maneuvered the government out of that entire mess. And she's the one who led the entire charge all the way through to December, when the tax refunds were finally distributed. Benita Manglona was one of the key people behind that entire thing, and for the remainder of her time during the Calvo administration, made enormous contributions to the financial health of the government of Guam. And if you think about it, if you just make the comparison to
Maybe they did. Maybe they put her at GMH on purpose. They removed her from. Who put her at GMH?
Governor Calvo.
Okay, no.
But they did it because GMH was financially failing.
Right.
And so Benita was the one, I mean, I guess now it's her downfall. She's the one who was willing to make those sorts of decisions, even if it meant exposure to criminal liability and civil liability. Because, the withholding or the not paying the withholding taxes to DRT it opens her up to criminal liability. But she made these decisions because it's not because, like you were saying, not because she was lining her pockets with it, but because they were the decisions that she was forced to make.
Mm-hmm.
It was that or not.
Pay your house or pay your car.
Yeah.
Pay your car. So you can get to and from work to pay your house.
Even the bank tells you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go over this. The Post ran a story on her.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm just gonna go over the latter part of it.
Sure.
Because it talks. This is what kind of administration we have.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see who wrote it. This is from the Post, and of course, Kevin Kerrigan wrote it. And he says, when asked what explanation Manglona provided for her failure to make these legally required payments, Paris Posadas said, "I don't want to dwell on that. Going forward is what I want to focus on." Right? However, she noted that last year during the Calvo administration, Manglona was faced with the threat of payless paydays at GMH.
Mm-hmm.
This is Posadas' Lillian, right? She's
The administrator right now.
Then it says, Governor Lulian Guerrero told the Post that she has spoken with Paris Posadas about the demand letter. "We are addressing it," said the governor, following remarks at the Guam Contractors Association meeting at the Hyatt Regency Guam on Wednesday. She noted that the payment failure occurred under the prior administration and that all payroll deduction taxes have been paid since her administration took office at the start of this year.
So why did they forgive taxes for those rich people?
Paris Posada said the governor has assured her that she is looking for a funding source to pay the debt. Listen to this. It gets better. "We're going to try and see how we can come up with a payment plan," says Paris Posadas, adding she'd like to start making installment payments as soon as possible. "My biggest concern is I don't want DRT to put a lien on our accounts, on our assets, or our receivables, because that could ultimately end in not making payroll."
Well, I'm a little confused though by the beginning part of that, where the governor said that, or Lillian Paris Posada said that they've paid it back already, but then they're saying
She noted that the prior administration and that payroll deduction taxes have been paid since Lulian Guerrero's administration took over. So they're trying to say this is all from Calvo.
Oh, I see.
Calvo.
So they're saying that whenever they came in, everything from that point forward
paid.
is paying. Yeah, they're remitting the taxes to
Right.
Revenue tax or whatever.
Yeah.
But Lillian is saying is now we're not sure if we're going to be able to make payroll.
Yeah.
It's
It's the same pot.
Yeah.
It's the same pot of gold, people,
Yeah. So what's more important to this administration?
to save their face.
Paying revenue tax?
Save their face.
Or making payroll at GMH? Or buying life-saving medicines?
Or making $4,000 a day in
Interest?
for
For which one?
for Luz Bank of Guam.
The governor's bank.
Yeah.
The Bank of Guam. The governor's bank. So, yeah, I just, I've had my criticisms of Benita before. But fair is fair, and this is unfair to her. This story, how it's coming out, and
Of course it's gonna come out this way, Troy. Look at the beautification task force.
the beautificaton.
Beautificaton. Okay, they made a fall guy write a letter and apologize.
No, the administration is good at
So of course they're gonna do that.
finding fall guys. Wow.
Yeah.
And so Benita, you heard it in that video that there were medical issues in her family. Those medical issues persist. She needs medical insurance for her family. Now she's not going to have that. It's not like we have COBRA in the government of Guam. she needs an income. This is just, I don't like this all around. I don't like this all around. The solution should have come from the legislature. She should have never been in a position to make a decision like that. And yet, you know, here we are, and she's the fall guy for the entire thing. What was our... Sorry, I didn't prepare anything. I didn't write anything down. We're going off the cuff here tonight on the news. But I mean, it's a lot of good news. I mean, not good news, but it's a lot of information.
Refunds.
Oh, tax refunds, that's right. Can we just take a little break so I can gather everything up?
So the BPT of 5%, do you think that can already be brought back to?
I have made my
4%?
position about that, and I have said that I don't want it rolled back. I'd like to see what fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021 gives, because as a result of what has happened, we were able to actually also close the gap as a result of President Trump's Jobs Act legislation that took away about $68 million from our general fund. So those are the kinds of things that I am really looking at, Heidi, before, and like I have said, I have spoken to many business leaders also, and they are okay with the 5%.
Will that stay at least until 2020, fiscal year 2021, so 2022, there might be a
I would like
consideration.
for it to stay, and I'd like for it to stay forever.
Over 26 million in tax refund checks to pay refunds filed through March 31st, 2019 are sitting at the Department of Administration. The checks, according to DOA and the governor's office, will not be mailed to taxpayers until Friday. The release of this money for 2018 tax refunds does not include 17 million in processed refunds due to prior year claims. The entire balance of the Section 30 monies, about 70 million, remains in a trust account at the Bank of Guam. According to the Federal Reserve's monetary policy, the Bank of Guam earns 2.1% interest from the Federal Reserve Bank on the daily balance of excess reserves from that deposit. This means the governor's family's bank is earning over $4,000 daily from this Section 30 money. This is a developing story.
So the development we did speak with some people earlier today regarding tax refunds. Can we cast on my screen? Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can I help you?
Yes, have tax refund checks been mailed today?
It's gonna be mailed out Friday.
It's to be mailed out Friday?
Uh-huh.
Have you received the checks from Revenue Tax yet?
Yes, we did. May I ask a-
Oh, you did receive the checks from Revenue Tax, but it's being held to be mailed on Friday then.
Yes.
Why is it being held until Friday?
I have no idea, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate you answering the question.
All right.
Thank
all
you
right.
so much.
Bye.
They're holding people's money until Friday. They have the checks already. And they have the money in the bank. This is crazy, people. This is freaking crazy. Hi, Chalu. Hi, Ness. Jesus. Oh, and yes, Chalu, you're right. Yeah. Wasn't sprayed with public funds. It was private funds. Prior to anybody else on this island knowing about the issue. Second-class citizens we are to the Leon Guerrero regime. Hashtag #LouFlu. Which is, I'm sorry, it's not a funny thing, I know. This is a very dangerous thing, especially for people with compromised immune systems. For babies, for children, and for old people. It's like they don't give two flying rats' asses. And now the governor's office is not answering the call. So this goes on and on for like several minutes. Try to get a hold of people. We finally speak with Gus Afflequi from the Office of the Chief of Staff, and he says that the Chief of Staff is going to get back to us, but the Chief of Staff never gets back to us. Then Richard Arroyo gets on the phone. He says, they don't have the answer because everyone's in a meeting. Come to find out, there was some kind of emergency dengue meeting that was happening. But no one ever gets back to us except for Goody Rosario at Department of Administration. And Goody confirms to us that... Oh, yeah, I have that. So Goody confirms to us that, yes, they have the checks. Yes, the amount is like $26 million. It should be $42 million when you think about the fact that they need to pay out the prior year refunds first. So it's 17 on top of... I don't know. But, this administration has not been good at...
Giving answers.
Or
straight
telling the
answers.
truth.
Yeah.
So we're a little fuzzy on what the amount really is or really should be. But it should be $42 million or $43 million, something like that. But so I asked Goody, how come you guys have the checks and you're not mailing them today? Mm-hmm. And he said it's because we don't have enough manpower at Treasurer of Guam. And I asked him, how come the governor's office hasn't sent a team of 10 to 20 people to go there and stuff the checks? That's the manpower is needed to stuff the 11,000 checks. It's a lot of checks, right, to stuff into envelopes.
Well, they could have been doing that at their meeting, their cabinet meeting they had today.
Oh, they could have. The other thing they could have done was send 10 to 20 people, and it like you can stuff 100 checks in an hour. That's even if you're going Gov Guam slow, you can still stuff 100 checks in an hour. You have 10 people doing that. That's 1,000 checks, and over an 11-hour period, then voila, you're done with the check stuffing. But if you had 20 people, 2,000 checks stuffed in an hour, it would take 5 hours, and they would have had the thing mailed out today.
Dude, I've seen that process.
Yeah. It's a very simple logistical solution, and so we asked Carlo Branch because Carlo Branch actually reached out to us after we made several phone calls. This is an hour-long episode from this morning. Most of it was trying to get a hold of people to answer questions regarding tax refunds and dengue fever. So I guess Carlo was watching or got wind that we were on or whatever. So he says, "Is that a mosquito? Was that the white one?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here!"
Honest, I swear.
Oh my God, you saved our lives.
Look at it.
Oh my God, it's the Lu flu.
It's the white with the things, guys.
That's a Lu flu transmitter. Was it on me?
No, I killed it, Troy.
Damn.
They're sending them here to us. Just kidding. I'm not that important. We are second-class citizens, remember?
Yes, we are. So he says, "Troy, this is Carlo Branch. Here you have tax refund questions. How can I help?" I said, "Yes. Why is the administration holding..."
Wait, you should have asked him, are we going to be speaking to you from now on?
"Why is the administration holding the release of tax refund checks until Friday?" He says, "The goal..." Yeah, this is just the biggest bunch of bullshit. Like, this is called political bullshit. "The goal is to release refunds at the end of the week. The timeline is determined by the fact that in excess of 11,000 refunds are being processed for snail mail. It takes 1 day for local mail to reach local mailboxes. Don't give me this snail mail BS."
And the federal government works way differently than the local government, so...
He says, then I replied, "We confirmed the checks are processed and printed and at DOA awaiting mailing. Why send Friday?" He says, "As I indicated earlier, and based on our conversations with DRT, this is tied to preparing each refund for standard mail. Obviously, we'd love to report that these refunds are issued today, but alas, I'm not that lucky. As you may recall, processed and printed are not the same as stuffed in envelopes and ready to send." I fucking hate it when people patronize me.
Yeah, well, it's going to take Carlo Branch's crew to stuff envelopes, and it's going to take them 48 hours to stuff those envelopes.
Like, how stupid can this administration be? How inept?
No.
Incapable.
No.
Lazy.
The answer is because they think you're stupid. It's not because they're stupid. It's because they sent the limp monster to you.
Cello, do not put up the photos, please. We got requests not to put up the photos. So I
Put
asked,
it up.
I asked, has the governor sent a team to help DOA to stuff? He says, I'm told that every resource available is committed to it. Obviously, I'm sure they'd give you and me a chair and some envelopes. This is not something to make light out of. This is, if you had sent 10 to 20 people from Rev and Tax, the governor's office, and BBMR to help DOA stuff these 11,000 checks, people who really need their refunds would have had them today. But yet that money's going to sit in the freaking Bank of Guam until Friday because they don't want to commit 10 to 20 people.
Because they earn $4,000. The bank earns $4,000 a day in interest.
And that ain't, we're not making that up. That's from the Federal Reserve about excess deposits or excess funds and excess reserves is what it's called. The Federal Reserve Bank pays banks 2.1% of interest on the excess reserves of deposits that are sitting in the bank. So that $70 million translates to $4,100 per day, according to
Troy,
math.
just last Friday, they allowed people to take leave and get paid for it, to pick up trash.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they send some people?
To work during business hours at no additional cost, no leave, to stuff these envelopes if tax refunds were a priority to them. But it's a priority that people owe these tax refunds. But number one, it's their money. Secondly, they need it, guys. Governor's office, they need this money. They've been crying for it. They call every day. And now, ever since we did this thing this morning, the Department of Administration had to change its holding statement about when refunds were coming out. This poor lady probably got in a lot of trouble because she told us Friday. She didn't even know it was us, okay?
Yeah.
So they shouldn't be too hard on her. She was just telling the truth.
So what are they telling people now?
Oh, this week. Because they're probably, because of lambasting them, they're probably going to release it tomorrow. They probably got a team in, you know?
Exactly.
So, hopefully it lit a fire under their asses to do something that's right.
That's all we want.
My God.
That satisfies me.
To do right.
This pisses me off. There are people who are really suffering out there. It is the middle of the month. Very soon, people are going to run out of food stamps and the ability to buy food. And the governor's office is treating this like it's nothing.
It doesn't even necessarily mean that they're suffering and they need food. It's their money and they can do whatever they want with their
Let's
money.
just start with that, yeah. Just start and end with that. It's their own money. Why hold it back? Anyway,
It's sad.
it really is. If Benita Manglona was the director of administration,
Those checks would be
those
out.
checks would be out. If Governor Calvo were the governor, those checks would have been out a long time ago.
If you were governor, what?
I would cut the amount of money necessary in the government budget to dedicate to those tax refunds so that in January, all that shit would be paid. It's arithmetic, Cello. There's no rocket science behind it. There is nothing that's so brilliant about the banker governor that she cannot figure out something like that. It's a matter of political will.
But it's not only the banker governor, it's her whole physical team.
And yet here we are hitting tourists on a Wednesday night. Damn.
It's not only her brains, it's the whole brains of the physical team.
Our next story,
I'm going to hell.
let's start with the news conference today. Ashley, you want to read that?
Sure.
And then we'll go straight into the news conference for today. We want to show you guys the whole thing.
Okay. Public health officials are not denying the existence of other cases of suspected dengue infection pending laboratory confirmation. Civil Defense spokeswoman Jenna Blas confirmed with Kandit that the Director of Public Health has not ruled out the possibility of further infection, but has not answered the question on whether the government is aware of any. That was at 2. This is
That was
at
at
2
2
o'clock
p.m., yeah.
today. Ms. Blas also confirmed that as of today, the insecticide vendor has not sprayed the insecticide to kill the dengue-carrying mosquito in the Swamp Road area. She said that the decision is pending a meeting with emergency response officials. The question of emergency response, however, has not been answered definitely as well. And Ms. Blas confirms that as of today, the governor has not activated either the Emergency Operations Center or the United Command to deal with the crisis and outbreak. The governor finally is expected to activate these protocols at 4 p.m. today, 5 days after she issued Executive Order number 2019-21, declaring a state of emergency to deal with the crisis.
So that was at 2 p.m. today, that story from Kandit. And then at 4 p.m., and I swear to God, there has never been an on-time news conference in the government of Guam
Except when
for
the
today.
one Troy and Johnny are late for.
We were late. We were 6 minutes late.
No, more like 16 minutes late.
I swear to God, they had already started. We were like, hey, you guys couldn't wait. But we got there in time to bully the rest of the media and asking all the questions we needed to ask. So let's play that for everybody right now, because there are a lot of answers, a lot of good answers that were provided by the government.
And good
this
questions
afternoon.
from the other media as well.
Some. Like John O'Connor asked good questions.
Yeah. Oh, the young boy's John O'Connor, the one you almost took his coke. That's
Yes, that one.
Oh, okay.
Chelo, which video?
The
I don't have that one, Chelo.
oh, I never gave it
It's
to
on
you.
the Facebook.
Yeah, remember we're supposed to play on the Facebook?
Oh no! I actually downloaded it. I screwed up. Today's.
He
the
was
day
too
I
busy
screwed up.
doing the dengue fever alert. Okay.
So I think you're right, Cello. It is. I'm supposed to play it from here. It's this one, right?
Yeah. But yours is a better video
This one?
on yours
No, it's not.
because
We were
my
right next to each
camera-
other.
Yeah, but my camera always stayed on her.
Oh, so go to my personal page.
Yes.
Okay. Hang on, folks.
Hanging.
Hang on. There's my belly action. There's the
You cannot
goat
see your
thing.
screen yet, Cello.
Can you cast the screen out because I want people to see this. We have some tips on how to prepare. Hey, I like that. We have some tips on how to prepare for the Lu flu, to prevent
Press
the Lu
it.
flu.
Expanded. Here's
So you gotta make sure that you've checked marked all of these things, all right, in order to prevent the Lu flu from affecting you. You buy bug spray, and as we've heard that it's all out at the commissary, which means that the military folks are taking it very seriously, which means
We
that's like
should-
an indication that if the military is taking it seriously, we got to take it seriously. Clean out water pooling areas outside the house. Now, the mosquitoes can breed in as little as a millimeter of water. So just, like that's very little water that's needed. Wear long sleeve shirts and pants, and vote for someone else in the next election. That's how you can prevent the Lu flu from affecting all of us for the rest of our lives. And here is that. Let me just.
Hi, John. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's in here.
Hey, what happened?
Thanks.
That was cool though.
Transmission, as we mentioned, is a local case. It wasn't from an imported case. And so we mobilized immediately our incident command system. We activated our global viral response plan. The minute we have one local case, that triggered the plan to be activated. And in doing so, we activated our incident command system within the Department of Public Health and Social Services, following the structure of how we're going to do this. And we have the operations team. We have two operations entity, one being the environmental health, which I'm going to do as the head of that operations chief. And we also have the medical component, and that is with Dr. Susan Kanashiro, where we have the two teams, the ECHO team that provides education about the dengue virus, and we also have them assess the home and instruct them of all the information they're going to need, and the epidemiology team that is comprised of our epidemiologists, who will then assess any individual and that family that identified on that 12-year so more testing. And so that has been ongoing and is continually ongoing as we speak. And then just recently, yesterday, we identified another case, and that is in Dengue. And so that was a wall that lives in the Swamp Road. And again, we did the same thing. We mobilized our environmental health staff to go down there. And while this is all happening, we also worked going back to the Benita case. We wanted to ensure the complete safety. Vector control is very critical to contain the virus with mosquitoes being killed. And so what we have done was we sprayed with insecticide inside and outside of the Aggie Johnson School where the patient goes to school. We wanted to take measures to ensure that this high-risk area was properly contained and controlled with the vector being killed through the insecticide. We then launched the following day to continue operations in spraying the insecticide also to the Oregon John Auto School. And so I'm happy to say that has been completed as of today. Moving on, we are going to continue all efforts at both sides to mobilize the team. As the governor has indicated, we have actually activated our Homeland Security with Tim on the forefront there. And so we will continue to have our incident command system in place, continue mobilizing all our staff. But we want to tell the public that this is a disease that is spread not communicably, not from one person to another, but from a vector, from a mosquito that bites an infected person and then transmits the infection of the virus to another individual by that mosquito biting the other individual. So quarantine is not needed, and we also want to make certain that everyone understands that having just a vector control is not going to solve the whole problem. We need to clear up breeding sites to ensure that everything is completely free of the mosquitoes continuing to breed and multiply. And so that's why we're doing a lot of containment and control with a vector as we move along. Now, there will be cases that will be coming forward. We anticipate that to happen, as the governor indicated earlier. And we also have our experts. Dr. Benita Manglona from CDC has been with us throughout the whole process. And of course, we continue to have support from the US CDC. Congress, we just had a conversation with them this morning. And we are asking for also assistance for entomology, also insecticide and epidemiology. And this is in the event that this disease may get heightened even further, so that there are more cases. We're just taking lots of precautionary measures. We've activated and mobilized a lot of our resources within the government, thanks to the support of our governor. And she has been very supportive of all our efforts. We're mobilizing a lot of the police and the Department of Agriculture and also all the nurses and every entity that we can think of to get this cleanup done immediately in the swamp area, like the Public Works, who's key players. And so we just want to assure that the public knows we are doing everything to control this vector so that it doesn't continue to infect our community. Thank you.
Now I'd like to open the floor for questions.
Is the government of Guam aware of any other suspected cases of dengue pending laboratory confirmation?
Right now, our team is still moving out there, and so we're launching more patients that are being screened. So we're just anticipating 2 more testing at this point.
So there are at least 2 more suspected?
There may be. We will find out by today. We just identified that today.
Okay, and now with these suspected cases, are you saying that the government of Guam is not considering quarantine to prevent the mosquitoes from biting these suspected cases or the confirmed cases either?
No.
Is there a reason for that?
It's not a communicable disease like TB, where
Sure.
that is a disease that will be spread. It is not. And quarantine is not going to happen, and it's not an issue. And I can also defer to Dr. Payne Hancock, who will give you the more detail as far as the medical side.
Yes, please, if you could just explain how it's not possible that if the patient's not in quarantine, that the mosquito wouldn't bite the patient and then transmit it to another person.
Yeah, so I think there might be a little confusion in regards to what quarantine this outbreak, the way that, or these two cases, the way to really limit transmission and prevent it from becoming a big outbreak is by our community working to prevent mosquito bites on themselves. And that's by wearing repellent, wearing long clothing, avoiding areas with lots of mosquitoes, and also doing their work around their homes to clean up those items that can catch water and mosquito-borne sites and reducing the number of mosquitoes.
So then, will the government be isolating any of the suspected patients?
So for the isolation, as Director Denarcy mentioned, with some diseases and illnesses, depending how it's spread, isolation requires a higher level. So if it's a disease that requires or that may spread through airborne, then you need to isolate them in special rooms that the air doesn't is filtered. But for mosquito-borne, it's really just avoiding the mosquito. And so generally it's just asking the patients to avoid mosquito bites. Obviously for patients that are in the hospital, there's extra precautions to make sure that there's no mosquitoes biting them.
Wouldn't you say the mosquitoes are kind of airborne? It's a little difficult to avoid a mosquito.
Airborne transmission involves actually molecules, the infection getting the molecules in the air that can stay around for a while and you can breathe in. Mosquito-borne or vector-borne illnesses, of course, from the type of mosquito. And so that avoidance can be done with repellent on sleeves. Airborne transmission, you require additional filters, special masks, that sort of thing. So it's vector-borne and airborne are different.
Understanding the difference between quarantine and isolation. I understand that people can be asymptomatic as well. And what is the likelihood of overall mortality considering people who don't have to be isolated?
So again, for people who are ill and have the symptoms of dengue, it's standard, like I said, that we want them to avoid mosquito bites. And again, as far as mortality, in dengue outbreaks, the important thing is that avoiding severe dengue, which some people can have, and we talked about some of the symptoms of severe dengue that people should be aware of if they have high fever and they're getting severe abdominal pain, persistent vomiting, bleeding. Those are all reasons to present to your provider as soon as possible at emergency room to get care. And that's really going to help limit mortality because with appropriate management, people survive dengue. And so really presenting early if you have those symptoms of severe dengue is important.
So it's also kind of building from when he says it's airborne, I really kind of understand what he means when he says that. And it is a concern for a lot of mosquitoes. So what is the importance of that 200 meter radius? Does that have to do with the lifespan of the mosquito, its ability to spread the virus?
Sure.
Thank you.
So,
This is Tom Nadeau from Environmental Health.
Based on the flight distance of the mosquito, it's been determined there are 150 to 200 meters in the ideal area of surveillance based on the location of the patient. So that's how the country is flight of mosquitoes.
Is there a possibility that these mosquitoes carrying the dengue infection are now in every village of the island?
Well, the Division of Health, we've been conducting surveillance throughout the island since last year. Our program was revived in 2017, and since then, we've been building the foundation of the program with the establishment of the Guam Environmental Health Lab, otherwise mosquito lab. And since then, we focused on different areas of the island, which can act as a central location, like a early warning system, if you will. So those areas have been identified. We do daily tracking, collection, and identification. So we've been monitoring the situation in terms of mosquito species.
Okay. So here are the important points from that. Like all those long-winded answers from the government officials. Number one, there are two more suspected cases, at least two more suspected cases that the government is tracking. We'll likely have confirmation of whether it is positive or negative for dengue by tomorrow, right? Or by today. Number two,
Can you talk about the isolation versus the? They knew what we were asking.
yeah, and they just stuck to a word and like kept denying the whole quarantine thing. So the Dr. Hancock, I think is his name, the guy from the CDC or wherever he's from, the visiting guy who's helping out with this entire response effort. He said that quarantine is when the government takes you and puts you and a bunch of others or keeps you away from the other people or whatever. And isolation is what happens when, well, they kept talking about self-isolation. Then when we asked, was the government going to isolate these people who are suspected of having dengue and those who are confirmed, because the whole idea is you want to keep the mosquito that can carry the dengue virus
From biting the person with the dengue.
virus, because they said so in the thing that yes, that's how you actually introduce dengue to an area, is if there's a person who comes into the area, has the dengue virus, then a mosquito that's capable of carrying it bites that person, that mosquito becomes infected with the virus and then transfers it to another person. And then that's how there's a local acquiring. So the whole thing was isolating these people who have dengue or are suspected of having dengue from the mosquito.
He said, Troy, you're talking about we don't need to quarantine them. I'm like, quarantine, isolation, whatever. You know what we're saying.
Tomato. It's the same thing. It really is. You know what we're asking. We're asking, are you keeping these people away from the mosquitoes? And they haven't. And they're not even considering it. Why? They refuse to answer. So, two more suspected cases of dengue that they're monitoring, that this mosquito quite possibly is in every village. They don't know because the weekly surveillance that they're doing is not showing any positive infection in these Asian tiger mosquitoes for dengue.
And they said the two places it is at the northern and the central, which leaves only the southern.
I think what they said was that they have conducted surveillance over the past 2 years in the northern and central regions. Now I forgot to ask why they're not surveilling the southern region, but essentially what they're saying is there's a possibility that this virus has spread. And Linda Orsi said that it's possible that we're going to have more confirmed cases. And I guess the government knows
with the people
this.
in Swamp Road, because of the person infected in Swamp Road, that they know that there's substandard housing in that area. So if you are in that area, Swamp Road area, you're able to go to your mayor's office and they're supposed to help you protect yourselves and your families against this.
Yeah, whatever they're doing.
Whatever
to help
they can,
mitigate.
yes, they're going to provide you, I guess, with.
Yeah. The other important point that the governor made when we asked her whether GMH is prepared for the influx of people who don't have insurance, who don't have Medicaid, MIP, Medicare, whatever, right? They don't have the ability to go to a clinic and pay for the screening. They're going to go to Guam Memorial Hospital. For their urgent care center or their emergency room. But we know over the past few days that they have been so full that they've been diverting patients to GRMC. But then GRMC doesn't have an urgent care center anymore. You have to pay. So GMH is really the only recourse for people who don't have any money for this screening. So as soon as you start showing symptoms, the governor was saying it's important that you go get screened. And if the only place you can get screened is GMH, the governor has said that she's spoken with Lilian Perez Posadas, who said that they are making adjustments to the ER and the urgent care clinic so that they're not turning people away. And so that was an important point that the governor did make. The other important point, was that it?
Just the economy and the...
Yeah, we did ask them about the effects on the economy and tourism, and the governor said that in any case like this, there is always that potential that people will be scared of coming to Guam.
And then said, "Oh no, but in Hawaii and other places that have it, their tourism's booming."
That's what Linda said, right? I don't trust anything Linda says. I don't trust anything she says because that woman had the ability to isolate that first patient, and she didn't. She says this is a major failure of our government. Gosh, I can't remember if there was something else that was important about this this entire thing. The Senator Therese Terlahi was there. She was the only senator who was there, as a matter of fact. She's the chairwoman of the health committee. I don't remember anything else that was important about that entire thing. We're going to follow this, of course, more. There's the likelihood that there would be more confirmations of dengue infection. The message that Civil Defense wanted to get out today, and the governor wanted to get out today, was for everybody to help do their part to prevent further infection, further acquiring of dengue by these mosquitoes or further infection transmission to people. And that's by doing, now it's not simple stuff because it's a lot of stuff. Going outside your house to, if you have like the lid of this cup. If you see a lid like this outside in your yard, get rid of it. Because the water that will accumulate just in this little area right here is more than enough room for mosquitoes to breed. Any buckets that you have outside that are gathering water, you got to turn them over. Go to your aircon where the condenser is and where there's normally a drip. See if the area underneath is accumulating water. And if it is, try to get rid of that. Try to augment that with something, cover it or something like that. Get the water out of
just
there.
Just reflush your areas that usually have sitting water. And if you have a blower or a broom, you can just sweep it off. But the blower's best. You know, those gas blowers or those.
Oh, okay.
It almost looks like a
chainsaw, but with a hose thing.
So just spray everything, put some Clorox or whatever, and then blow it.
And then wear long sleeve shirts, wear pants, shoes. The
kids when you pick up the kids, them waiting for the car rides, try to make them wear long sleeve and pants.
Don't make them wait long outside, yeah.
Yeah, at least for the rest of the week and next week. But I have a feeling we're going to be dealing with this dengue for the next month or so.
Good job, Governor. Excellent work. The final story we have for tonight has to do with the bill that we actually brought up a couple days ago when it was the good stuff, right? We were reporting on what the was up to. It's bill number 204, and we thought we started to complain about it because it's by Senator Joseph Augustine. This bill grants tax credits to any business that helps the Guam Basketball Confederation, or GBC,
and the FIBA,
and the
FIBA,
and the FIBA Asia something. It's basketball. It's all basketball stuff. Helps them to, I guess, to exist. It isn't even just to help them to. It's cutting. Shello, it's cutting off the most important person in that picture. Is there a way to get that person in that shot so everyone can see who that is? So we're looking at this bill, and we're wondering, of all the things to give tax credits to, there's the Autism Center that needs more funding. There's Guam Memorial Hospital that needs way more funding. They could build a few things there. They could use the help that tax credits could give to them. There's a simple fact that issuing tax credits at all is not good in the eyes of our investors and our bondholders because it is it's an erosion of government revenues that are supposed to be pledged to the payment of bonds. Yet, why is it that Senator Joseph Augustine wants to give tax credits to this one so-called nonprofit organization? So we looked a little closer into what this nonprofit organization is and what it does. And were you able to get that person back into the picture? No? Okay, well, maybe is there another picture?
Is it on the screen? Can you bring it?
Want me to email it to you?
No, I think I have it on my screen. Let me because I think it's really important that people see who is the president of this nonprofit organization. and who is the head coach of the basketball league for that nonprofit organization. Just give me 1 second to bring this up.
Bless you.
Excuse me, thank you.
There. Wait, not yet, Prim.
Not yet, not yet. Go ahead. EJ Calvo. The Calvos are behind this organization. And now Senator Joyce Augustine wants to give any business that contributes, and we're going to go over that language in just a bit to show you just how vague this is and how much room for corruption there is that this bill gives. So that helps this organization in any way, shape, or form by a quote-unquote contribution. EJ Calvos, the Calvos are behind this entire thing. Go ahead and cast off my screen so we can start showing the other stuff. Go ahead and play the images that I gave you, Chelo, for tonight, so I can explain it to people. So here's you'll see the Guam Basketball Confederation was able to rebuild the facility through the issuance of tax credits by the 32nd Guam Legislature and other community partners, including Payless Markets, Inc. This isn't the first time that there's been a bill to give tax credits to this one, or for the benefit of this one organization. This bill or this law, the first time they gave tax credits was in 2014. It was introduced by Brant McCready, another Calvo lackey. And so it was passed into law. They got tax credits, and they were able to build a $300,000 facility using these tax credits. Go ahead to the next thing. This is just more. Okay, so here are the audited financials for the fiscal year that ended in 2017, and you'll see the highlighted portion in the bottom, the amount of tax credits that were awarded to the Guam Basketball Confederation, $700,000. That's quite a hefty amount for a nonprofit organization and for a basketball league, or for not even a league, but a basketball organization. These are your tax dollars. So this is the Brant McCready legislation. You'll see it says it changes the section of the law on business privilege taxes that says credit against eligible taxes to the extent that any business contributes the actual cost. This is important language. The actual cost of design, labor, and materials that are for the rehabilitation and improvement of the Department of Parks and Recreation, Teton Gymnasium, and facilities. Right now, in the new bill by Senator Joseph Augustine, the language changes, where this one by Brant McCready says contributes the actual cost of design, labor, and materials. It's very specific, right? The Joseph Augustine's bill says any business contributes to the Guam Basketball Confederation to acquire. It's become more generalized. This means that those tax credits can benefit this confederation in whatever way its board of directors and its president decides. And whether that money can inure to the benefit of the Calvos is yet to be seen. But our legislature is entertaining this bill to enrich the Calvos and their organization even more. What were you saying, Chelo, earlier about this? It doesn't stop. There's just so much of it.
Yeah.
Is there another thing to see here? Okay, we can come back to us. Well, why don't you tell people your thoughts about this, which you were telling me earlier about?
It just doesn't stop. It's one thing after the other. Little things that are supposed to just go over our head, and we're supposed to just trust the legislature to be doing their jobs. And then here we are once again. And these are things that we stumble across. It's not like
anyone put out a press release that said and was transparent about it, right?
Right. Sneaking it in
yeah.
there.
Yeah. And you know what makes this even worse? If you remember, Senator Joseph Augustine was leading the fight against reducing the business privilege tax.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we need it. We need to keep the business privilege tax at 5%. Now he wants to give tax credits to the Calvos.
tax credits to the Calvos, tax $15 million in tax that they owe, right?
Yeah.
The cigarette people, and then they go after someone that had a $3 million tax. Oh, they made sure they went to court and everything for that. Where is that court case against MidPac?
I don't know. That's a damn good question. So while they're making Benita Manglona to be the bad guy for doing something that did not enrich her, what about all these decisions that are being made by our senators that enrich them? What about the fact that Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes was in bed with Frank Campillo and the Calvos on this whole insurance thing? Caused a whole antitrust violation. The collusion that occurred there. What about the fact that government of Guam employees are pissed off about the whole insurance thing because it just came out of nowhere for them, and now they don't understand what's going on, and the governor refuses to divulge information about it. How come no one's looking into that yet?
They want to know who's shoving what up their ass. They fucking... Oh, the dildo files. Hey, bring it. You and your dildo.
Stupid dildos. Speaking of that whole stupid assault on Congressman Mike St. Nicholas, we are going to be at Guam Election Commission tomorrow at 6 p.m. covering their meeting or whatever it's called, where they're going to talk about the investigation into Congressman Mike St. Nicholas. And if
Are we allowed to ask questions?
I was just going to say, if there's a public comment period, I want to go not as a Kandit person, but as a citizen who filed a previous complaint that they dismissed and that they rejected at first because they didn't take things from media reports. They just official complaints. Yet they entertained this on media reports against Congressman St. Nicholas without there being an official complaint. I want to ask them about the double standard in their procedures and how are they just targeting Congressman Mike St. Nicholas? Have they just been waiting for something like this to happen against Congressman Mike St. Nicholas just because members of that Guam Election Commission don't like him?
And there's some people that should recuse themselves from making any decision
Absolutely.
against the congressman.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Well, Cello, as your partner and Kandit, you can wear both hats tomorrow.
Thank you, Chelo.
Okay? Or tonight at 6 o'clock. You can wear both hats. The Troy hat and the Kandit hat.
We're also going to be at the 2 p.m. roundtable discussion hosted by our favorite Senator Therese Terlahi.
Yes.
Regarding the Lebowski case, the Tidy case, the Medical Malpractice Mandatory Arbitration Act. And speaking of doctors, again, last night we did give our condolences to the Statler family, or was it yesterday morning? We gave our condolences to the Statler family. Again, our condolences to the Statler family on the loss of their husband and father. And also to my family, my Uncle Joe's wife. She was the last one. No, I think my Uncle Ben is still alive. Well, my Uncle Joe, my grandpa's youngest brother, Uncle Joe, his wife died a few days ago, Auntie Lang. I think the viewing is tomorrow. So I'm gonna be at
Is
the
it the
viewing.
same family that we met at Denny's and we paid our dinner?
No, that's the Doma side.
Oh, okay.
That's the Mauricio side. This one is Agania, Cotis. But Auntie Lang is from Dedderdo. Uncle Joe and Auntie Lang lived in Dedderdo.
And today is September 19th. Yesterday was my mom's birthday. Today is my grandma's birthday.
Oh, happy double birthday.
Yeah. My grandma, my mom is Mariquita, and she's born in 1951, so we stopped counting after a while.
Oh, okay.
But my grandma, her name is Pilar Borja Rosario, and she's from Didigi.
Are you gonna visit her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Good night, everyone. We love you.